Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to be actually discussing some news behind Bitcoin. We don't do that frequently, but we discussed when Tesla bought some Bitcoin a few months ago, so it seems only natural to do an update now that we have the quarterly earnings report for Tesla. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. So if you go look at the Tesla earnings report, okay, so we're basically just looking at the update for Tesla 2021, Q1 2021. And if we search for digital, okay, we can find pretty quickly, and remember this is in millions of US dollars, that Tesla bought $1,500 million worth of Bitcoin, which is $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And we all know that, right? Everyone knows that because we covered it on the channel. It was all over the news. Yeah, Tesla bought $1.5 billion of Bitcoin. But also you can see that below it, it shows the proceeds from sales of digital assets, and it shows 272 million. So essentially this is just proving the point, right? That institutions are not always going to hold Bitcoin forever and ever and ever. Sometimes they will sell Bitcoin. And can you really blame them? Not really. I mean, they bought Bitcoin and then it doubled in price. How can you really blame them for wanting to sell some? So it just goes to show you proof that institutions, while I do contend that this market cycle is the cycle for institutional investors to really come into the market, here's clear evidence that Bitcoin will also be something that institutions occasionally sell. Okay, and as Elon put it, to prove liquidity. So, you know, just to make the point, if you actually go to Twitter, Dave Portnoy actually put out a tweet, and Elon responded to it, and he says, "No, you do not. I have not sold any of my Bitcoin. Tesla sold 10% of its holdings, essentially to prove liquidity of Bitcoin as an alternative to holding cash on balance sheet." And you can see it's already going somewhat viral. So I'm just putting this out there so that as we navigate this market, the myth that institutions will never sell is just simply not true. I do contend that institutions coming into the market will actually contribute to diminished volatility, as we've seen before. Yes, the price of Bitcoin can still go up a lot, it can go down a lot, but over the macro scale, we are still seeing diminished volatility. Do not believe this mindset that no institution will ever sell Bitcoin, because at times they will. It doesn't mean that Bitcoin's still not worth DCAing into. It just means that you have to be prepared that the narrative that some people shill, that institutions will just buy it and then sit on it for 20 or 30 years, it's not necessarily true. Yes, there's some institutions like MicroStrategy, it seems like they don't want to sell it, according to some of the interviews there. But some of the institutions out there will sell Bitcoin. They see it just like a lot of us see it. And as Elon says, I mean, I don't proving it to prove liquidity of Bitcoin as an alternative to holding cash on the balance sheet. So it's not just enough to buy $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, but sometimes selling a modest $272 million worth of it in Q1 can also prove that liquidity. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll obviously continue to follow the Bitcoin price, see how things pan out. Remember, they sold it in Q1 because it's a Q1 earnings report. And so they would have sold it somewhere in Q1, meaning before, if we go to April 1st, so that's sort of the line. That's sort of the line in the sand. So we would have sold it somewhere in here. And remember, they were buying it, I believe they were buying it somewhere in this region or somewhere around that area. So presumably made a lot of money, sold some of it, and here we are. Despite the fact that they sold $272 million worth, we're still doing okay at this point. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Definitely give the video a thumbs up. I will see you next time. Bye.